surprise guest.
Extra
We don't want to
special
ruin the
surprise.
surprise.
And it's not just Bridget. Bridget's also surprised, but she's not a guest.
No,
She's sort of the host.
yeah. Forgot, which one is Bridget again?
Bridget HR. She's HR.
Okay.
Bengals Show.
Bengals Podcast.
Bengals Podcast.
I'm your host, Eddie McDuke. I'm joined as always by Dr. Hodgie, the electric
Hodgie.
and HR.
Bridget Jenkins.
I don't even have to look at my notes to tell you her name
to
because
remember
it's
those two simple letters.
Brianda
H and R.
Jankolovitz, everybody.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay,
you
good.
felt bad for me because COVID took me out, but I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm
welcome
better
Back.
than ever.
Brianda's back.
Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling a lot better, and I know I have to be here to keep you in check, especially since we've got another fun guest.
We have an
Big guest.
incredible guest. We have an
Superstar.
incredible guest.
I have to make sure you behave in front of company.
Right. I mean, this is the classiest guest and classiest, most articulate, best dressed human being I think we've ever had on the show.
Yeah.
One of my favorite TV personalities. I'll tell you something. Before I even knew he was a former Bengal, I was watching this guy on CBS, on ESPN, and then I was like, wait a second. That man, he belongs to us? He's a Bengal? Wow.
Yeah.
And I was very, it was a great honor to have such a dignified personality affiliated with a franchise.
And ESPN, for our viewers, stands for Electric Sports Personality Network.
Right.
And in that way, we have a lot in common. He's electric, I'm electric.
He is electric.
Yeah.
He is electric. But it is very, it's a smooth kind of electricity. He's very charming. Yes. But
Yeah, low voltage.
yeah, we're going to get to him very soon. But first, we have to tell you, look, if you're watching this on the Believe channel or anybody else, we are on YouTube. We are DNH Sports. Go there, subscribe, turn on notifications. But look, most importantly, we have a lot of really very dear fans. But we want you to share with your family members and your friends and just because it's very expensive to do actual marketing. So we want you to do the marketing for us.
For
But
us.
we also want to market for Brinks.tv because Brinks.tv.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
We
is.
market for them, you market for us.
Yeah.
No one's going to
They are
market for
doing
you.
they are doing some great work. And they actually have a new podcast by Cincinnati legend. Sorry here, let me just get this. Jerry Springer. has a
Oh
new
my gosh.
podcast. Yeah.
I'm a
How low
fan.
can you go? And he talks about it's kind of his memoirs of his time hosting the show and all of his greatest guests. Like he had the man who married a horse. He had the kung fu hillbilly. So many great memories.
Just to clarify,
Talks about-
a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you definitely want to check that out. And okay, I think it is about time that we bring in
The one and only.
the one and only, one of the 40 best players of all time, the free safety for the Super Bowl XXIII Bengals, Mr. Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Welcome.
Gentlemen, how you doing? And ladies, of course.
Excited.
Good to be on with you today. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Now, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daddy's going to talk less. You're going to talk more. This is the formula for success.
Yes. We're looking
Good
forward. We are looking forward to having you. And anything to keep Dadio in line, I think,
Yeah.
is the right.
We don't.
formula
Yeah, we
for
don't have to tell him
success.
about the show too much. He's already
okay,
here. Yeah,
okay.
he's already here. Yeah, we can just. But look, Mr. Wilcots, I did a lot of research before we brought you on the show. I just want to do justice to you. So, just you actually have a lot of different Wikipedia pages, and so I learned a lot of interesting things about you. You were born in Istanbul. You have a son who succeeded you named David. And there is also one about your football career. 3 different Wikipedia pages. Very, very impressive resume.
No. You're talking
But
about...
I wish it was who built the temple. No, that you got the wrong Solomon. I can't live up to that reputation. I wish I could. I'm doing my best. I try to split the baby on as many important decisions as possible, but I think you got the wrong Solomon.
I don't know. Your Twitter handle is Solomon's Wisdom.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is more of a drop the baby kind of show.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. Not split the baby, drop the baby.
And
I
then
like
pass around the blame. Yeah. But
That's
look,
right.
Mr. Wilcots, no, you were the free safety for the Bengals. And, one of my fondest memories, actually, was when you picked off Dave Craig in that AFC divisional playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks that basically sealed the deal. And I don't know if the Brinks research team could find that clip, but it was such a great demonstration of the kind of the playmaking ability you and David Fulcher. Oh, there we go. Wow, that was fast.
Craig to Clark to Wilcots.
There is Mr. Wilcots.
That's it.
And and
That's the moment.
That was the moment. And, we had David Fulcher on the show. We are huge David Fulcher fans.
Yeah.
And we had Eric Thomas on the show. Oh, sorry, we didn't have Eric Thomas. You had Eric Thomas as a teammate. You had Louis Billups
That's
as a
right.
teammate.
Yeah, I did.
And now we look at the secondary, and it is also a lot of playmakers. They feed off each other. We remember that tip from Jesse Bates to Von Bell, the AFC Championship game.
That's
and, and so really, it is really appropriate that we have you on here because we're going to talk a lot about the defensive backs today. And so really, what do you see? I want to talk about the rookie defensive backs. What do you see in terms of their ability to basically elevate this defense?
What's your feel? What's your response?
Yeah, well, I tell you, I love Dax Hill, Cameron Taylor-Britt, Tyson Anderson. I mean, they've got some rookie defensive backs that are coming in to join an already really talented secondary group. And of the rookie class, remember, all of these guys ran a 4.3 or better at the scouting combine in their 40 time. So we know the Bengals have added speed in their secondary, right?
Yeah.
But they also play multiple positions throughout their careers in football. I mean, all 3 guys can play just about every single position in the secondary. Cameron Taylor-Britt was a quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
He can play the outside corner. He can play the nickel or dime. He can play the slot corner. Dax Hill can play nickel or dime, but he also can play free or strong safety. Multiple positions within the secondary group. That kind of versatility with the speed that they're going to add to an already talented group. I think the Bengals secondary went from being maybe one of the more questionable areas on the football team to, I think, now one of the more solidified areas on the football team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I want to, it's not just about the athleticism and the speed, but, I was reading recently how, the Dax Hill, how he basically was picking the brains of Von Bell and Mike Hilton, and he's learning a lot from them. And came Taylor-Britt, they said he has a great kind of disposition, very cheery guy, and he compared himself to a pit bull. This was a very interesting analogy. He said pit bulls are not actually dangerous. They're friendly. They're family for families. But he said, I am like a violent pit bull. So I think it means that he's a very loving kind of creature.
Well, what he's saying is pit bulls are misunderstood animals.
Right.
But I, am the one that you're misunderstanding. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here's what you get. Here's the characteristics of a pit bull. Loyal.
Yes.
They're willing to fight. Let's face it. They're not backing down from a fight. And once they lock hold on you, they don't let go.
Right.
That's actually
Mr. Wilcots, let's not forget cute.
Yeah. With those
in a strange way.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Like
there you
jowls
go. That's right.
And a little,
Well, you also
like the lady from Murder She Wrote, like that kind of cute.
Angela Lansbury.
Lansbury.
That's right. I don't know
Not
if you
hot,
know.
but cute.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
don't know if-
like
yeah.
like Cameron Taylor-Britt. I'm not going to throw cute as one of the adjectives that would describe him. But certainly when he locks hold on you, he don't let go. He's certainly loyal. Of the Bengals' 6 draft picks, 5 of the 6 were team captains on their football team. Cameron Taylor-Britt is one of them. So I think that speaks to his leadership, his loyalty,
Character.
and the determination that the guy brings to the table. So we got ourselves some good football players amongst this rookie class. In the secondary, if they were a stock, say if you were buying them they're going up. They're doing this way. They're doing this.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, I just want to say that actually you kind of described our Patreon subscription process that when we lock onto you, we never let go.
Right.
That's right.
I don't know if you know we have a Patreon. Yeah, patreon.com/DH Sports.
I did
We
not
very
know
similar.
that. No,
yeah, it's the
good to
Cam
know.
Taylor-Britt of investments.
Yep. We draw
There
a
you
little
go.
bit
Mess
of
with
blood.
it.
We draw a little bit of blood one day at a time. Just a little bit.
I want you to know, don't try to sell. I'm speaking figuratively. I'm buying. I'm all in. I'm buying.
That's it.
Well,
That's, and that
I'm
was
all
really
in.
important. That
This
was really
is helpful
important.
because as you started speaking, I had to pull out these.
She drafted those guys.
I drafted these guys.
There you go. Look at you. That's awesome.
So,
There you go.
She
I'm like,
represented our show.
you just keep on letting that value go on up. These will just stay in my little NFL folder, but
See, as you can see, I play my role. I'm just here to validate what is already true. That's all.
And I got to say, for those of you who are tuning in late, this is an amazing opportunity. We are here with Solomon Wilcots, who one of the great players, but also a media personality, and that's why I'm interested in talking to you today, because I've never played football, but I'm a media personality like you. So let's talk about the other end.
Wait, let us hold on, Mr. Wilcots. Can we get something straight? I don't know if Bridget, she's very young, if she remembers. Mr. Wilcots was the best dressed personality on television back in the 90s. Very well dressed. Meanwhile, look at no offense, but look at my team. They don't follow the dress code. You see, I'm the only one wearing the suit. I'm the only one who actually spends on my wardrobe. What can I say to these people so they look as good as you?
Well, all you could say is, look, just do your best.
It's
Feel
not
your
good
best,
enough. Their best is
because at
not
the
good
end-
enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about presentation. And you see Bridget, she looks great, right?
She looks great. Yeah.
She looks
thank
great.
you.
And
Thank you.
if you look good, feel good, and then you're gonna present very good as well. So that's all you have to do. Let's not overthink it, right? And
Yeah.
you just bring your A game every single day. That's what we're here for.
You know, another thing we're talking about Cam Taylor-Britt. It says Cam Taylor-Britt there. He's a very gritty player. But another thing about him is his big heart. Again, like a pit bull.
Yeah.
He talked about how a lot of homeless children and needy dogs, and how he said he wants to give them away because he really feels that the dogs can help. And I just think that's fascinating, that he cares so much, and that also that dogs can assume that kind of responsibility.
Oh, dogs! Don't underestimate dogs, Dadio.
No, I mean, that is great that they can help take care of these children.
Yeah.
Hey guys, look, I mean that's high level thinking, am I right? Like,
Right.
you know how
That's
many
what we do on the
dogs-
show. Yeah.
You know how many dogs serve as sort of like companions to people who have been diagnosed, have been critically ill, and they've gotten better as
Yeah.
a result of like getting a dog or a cat, or like having this companion that
Or
is
getting an
what?
intern. It helps too, yeah.
non-judgmental, right? Pets are but no, we've seen that happen. I think for Cameron Taylor-Britt to understand that shows high level thinking,
Yeah.
high level of what we call emotional intelligence.
I'm with Britt. I'm glad to have him on the team. I got to say, this new group of players coming into the Bengals, the kind of positivity, the kind of good feelings and good vibes on this team, I think it could translate to an even better year this year than last year. I know that seems far-fetched, but yeah.
No, I think you're right on line with that. Starts with number 9, doesn't it?
It does, always.
Joe Burrow is like light years ahead of quarterbacks who've been in this league for a long time who haven't understand. You have to be what we call a servant leader. So the servant leader is not the guy that comes first. The servant leader puts himself last. He puts other people first. He serves others. That's how they end up following. That's who and what he is. So and he has created this atmosphere, this culture, this environment where everybody wants to be a part of it. Like all the guys who sign up in free agency, when I talk to them, they say they're here for number 9. Hey, why'd you want to come to Cincinnati? Oh, Joe Burrow's here. You know, and I don't know if you guys know this, that Peter King just named Joe Burrow to his list of most influential people, not players, most influential people in the National Football League. Number 12 on the list. Other people are on that list are like guys like Roger Goodell, the league's commissioner, and other important people. So that's how important Joe Burrow is. He's turned an irrelevant franchise into a very relevant franchise in about 25 months. Phenomenal.
That's really well put.
I have a question. So, like, we know the quarterback is a powerful boon with offense, right? So when it's game time, right? We know what they're doing on the field and how they're driving that for the offense. But can you tell us? Because I listened to most of you and Pac-Man talking about Peter King and naming Joe Burrow, and I do have a very riveting follow-up question to that I don't think our listeners will want to miss. But can you tell us a little bit just about how the quarterback helps the momentum for the defense, and how does the quarterback sort of rally the entire team on both sides of the ball and with special teams during the game?
Very good question. First of all, the very good elite quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow is that. They are what we call a force multiplier, right? So their ability to produce at a high level, plus when you talk about the energy and the confidence that they breed, it impacts everyone from Evan McPherson, whether you're the kicker, whether you're Kevin Huber, the punter, whether you're the offense. But it does impact the defense because think about this. The defense knows that, for instance, if you are Jesse Bates and you intercept the very first pass of a playoff game against Ryan Tannehill, the number 1 seed in the AFC, you're on the road, hostile environment in Nashville, you know Joe Burrow's going to turn that into points. You know he's going to make good of your efforts. And it allows you to play with a higher level of energy because you know that whatever little good you do is going to be magnified by that force multiplier to end up becoming a more decisive game-winning moment. And that's the same thing what happened at the end of the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. Jesse Bates tips the ball, Von Bell catches the ball. Next thing you know, Joe Burrow he makes enough plays to set us up to get the game-winning field goal. And we're out of here. Remember, they just changed the rule that if you don't win the kickoff in overtime, you get an extra possession. And I've already said that, no, I think the Bengals proved that you don't have to win the possession in overtime, and you can still win the game because defense play a role in it. And that's what Jesse Bates, Von Bell proved it, but they were able to prove it because of that force multiplier that is Joe Burrow.
I love it. And I've made this point.
Dadio, my follow-up question, and this is, we are quality journalists here at the number 1 Bengals podcast. You talked about Joe Burrow being a servant leader. We heard that he served cupcakes and crackers to La'el Collins when he courted him in Cincinnati. If Joe Burrow was serving you cupcakes and crackers at his home to become a Bengal, what flavor cupcake are you taking?
That's a really great question. I'm partial to flavors. Like when I have a gelato, I might do a sort of coconut coffee kind of. I don't know if you ever had those flavors combined.
Sweet and a little bitter. That's nice.
Yeah. So a coconut coffee cupcake, I think that would have to be like within his repertoire. But he probably could go out and order it, right?
He's got all kinds of boutique cupcakes.
But if you can't make it, you could order it, right?
Mr. Wilcots, you strike me as a low-carb kind of guy. So I'm guessing you're not a big cupcake fanatic. That's the vibe I get.
Now, I'm not a cupcake donut kind of guy, but if Joe Burrow served me a cupcake, who am I? Look, I get my workouts in every morning, so I think I could spare a cupcake. As my good friend Shannon Sharp would say, bodies are made in the kitchen, not in the gym.
There we go.
Well, Mr. Wilcots, I won't give you cupcakes, but you come to my house, I'll give you crackers. I don't get the fancy ones.
They're expired.
No, they're the saltines, but I don't get the fancy ones.
They're probably the oyster crackers he took from Skyline.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just move on. But I just want to say this. I've brought up the same points that Mr. Wilcots has many times. We've talked about the Bengals. I've kind of said it's similar to Brady. And if you look at the Bengals defense, a lot of people say, the defense carried Joe Burrow. Of course, they don't know anything about football, like me and you, Mr. Wilcots. But the thing is this. I would say this. When you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow, when we were behind 21-3, and the defense believes, and everybody believes, they play their game. They make plays. They take risks because they know my quarterback is going to be able to back us up. And that is the difference between Burrow, and I won't mention, but some game manager quarterbacks we've had in the past, like a Brady, they're just going to keep fighting, and the whole team keeps fighting. Yeah. And so that energy that you talked about, I've said this many times on the show, but I don't get any credit.
No.
Well, Dadio, don't worry about people giving you credit. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Yeah. You just keep speaking the truth, my man, because I think that's exactly what you're doing. Look, it takes teams to win games. Teams to win games. And we've seen it. The teams fall behind early on the scoreboard. Joe Burrow has the talent and the ability to bring them back. But we also seen the defense with critical moments on the line. I think in every game in the playoffs, we finished off the game with the defense coming away with an interception. Derek Carr will tell you that. Ryan Tannehill will tell you that. The Grim Reaper, that is Patrick Mahomes, will tell you that. We picked all three of them off at the end of games, come away with a winner. But look, it takes everybody to win. So what I love about this team, they don't care about who gets the credit. See? And Dadio, just like you, you speak the truth. But you don't care about getting the credit.
He cares about getting the credit. He takes the credit even when he hasn't said it.
But Mr. Wilcots, look, I know you're running out of time.
He was taking credit for your comment.
That's all
Mr.
right.
Wilcots. No, it's okay. But Mr. Wilcots, I have a couple more questions before you leave, real quick. Jesse Bates, you talked about the defense and the playmaking, and Jesse Bates was involved in almost all of that in the playoffs. So I have two questions for you. Number one, he played like a top safety, maybe the best safety in the league in the playoffs. He had a big play or multiple big plays every single game. Even in the Raiders game, he had like 3 or 4 tipped passes. In the Titans game, he had that early interception that rattled Tannehill. In the Chiefs game, he had the overtime tip to Von Bell. And in the Rams game, he kept the game close at the end of the first half with that end zone interception. So he has been huge. But in the regular season, he wasn't that big. And it seems pretty clear that he had the contract on his mind. He was perhaps worried about protecting his body. I want to know what you think. Who is the real Jesse Bates? Is he that elite safety we saw in the playoffs? Can he play at that level consistently? Because I think he can. I think if you can do it in the postseason, you can do it anytime. That's when the real players show up. The second part is, if you were in his position, would you budge on guaranteed money because of the great situation you're in and the kind of loyalty the franchise has, and be able to play with Joe
Burrow? First of all, I'll answer the first question. The real Jesse Bates is a playmaker. He is a ball hawk. The guy was mentored by one of the greatest defensive backs and great safeties the league has ever seen, and my good friend Rod Woodson, who hails from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and went to the same high school as one Jesse Bates. Wow. Did you know that before every game, every week, Jesse Bates have a conversation with Rod Woodson? Rod Woodson, I think, is second all-time in the NFL with over 70 interceptions. Career interceptions, having played corner and safety in the National Football League. So, listen, the playmaking that we see from Jesse, I think, is a byproduct of the people that he talks to on a daily basis, the way that he trains, and the way that he approaches the game. listen, I'm not angry when a player, says, hey, here's the money. I proved it. I've helped. Listen, when he first came here, this team wasn't winning a lot of games. He's been part of the growth and the turnaround, and he makes significant plays. He's one of the stars on this defense. Those kind of players are hard to find. I think they should be able to meet somewhere in the middle, but this is his first big contract. He's got to make a decision. Does he want to continue to play with the Bengals, play with Joe Burrow? But
what would you do, sir? What would you do? Would you?
Oh, no, I would get my money.
He's going to get his money. It's about the guaranteed money. I mean, would you take on a little more risk because of the way the Bengals honor their contracts and because you don't want to end up on the Jets or Jaguars? You want to be with Joe Burrow.
And
why not?
He gets some say-so, too. He's already played. Remember, the first couple of years here was like being on the Jets and Jaguars. So it was really bad. It was really bad. And then they turned it around, right, in a moment's notice. So he knows what that's like. He also knows what it's like to be on top. I trust that he's going to make a really good decision. I would want the bag of money because that's why we do this. And until you have that kind of security, I don't know that you could trade it in for trinkets. I'm not saying that a Super Bowl ring is a trinket or that it's not meaningful, because it's those memories that really matter. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help you take care of your family. It doesn't help you send your kids to college. So you gotta. I think financial security is the American way. It always has been. So I'm okay with that.
Well, I've learned a lot. I will take the bag of money as well. I've been sacrificing a lot.
You've taken
look at you got your own show. You guys have already taken the bag of money.
Yeah, but
I can see it right behind you.
I distributed too much to the rest of the team. But
you give us nothing.
Well, look, Mr. Wilcots, before you go, real quickly, we want to talk about the guard situation. Can we go to Camp in Your Mood? We want to talk about the Bengals drafted Cordell Volson. They say Valueson. I don't know, because he's great value. Where they draft him, they say he's looking really good. What do you think is going to happen on the offensive line? Is that going to be settled, do you think? Or are we going to have a strong kind of, we have a lot of injuries. How do you think it's going to play out? Is Cordell going to get some play? Is, the rookie from last year, is he going to get play?
No, I think Volson is a guy that's going to have opportunities to play. He played tackle and guard. So this rookie class is about versatility. All these guys played multiple positions, right? Every single one of them. And that's what Volson, he's a guy that can play both. So I think they come in with a more experienced group, particularly on the interior part of the offensive line. That's where we have to get stronger. That's where we were victimized in the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald wreaked havoc, not off the edge, but coming up the middle of the defense. Because we have a more pocket, more stationary quarterback in Joe Burrow, we have to be strong up the middle. And so I think you're going to see the more veteran players get an opportunity to play there. And obviously they bring over Alex Kappa. They have Ted Karras. You're going to have the veterans play there, and then hope that Volson comes along and that he gets better as he gains experience. But the depth, particularly on the interior portion of the offensive line, the depth has improved drastically. Yeah. And I think you'll see it pay off early and often.
Wow. Well, that was inspiring. I know it's way over the time. You said 20 minutes, I think. If you have to go, we understand. We'd love to keep you on for the rest of the show.
Well, I appreciate it. But, I'm at the famed Precinct Restaurant right here in Cincinnati, owned by the great Jeff Ruby. And people should know, our fans, right? Bengals fans should know, this is the place where Joe Burrow brought Lyle Collins, and they wooed him here with the Joe Burrow New York strip steak. It's got a Cajun seasoning, It's that Bayou thing from Louisiana. And they wooed him by bringing him to the precinct, the home of Jeff Ruby Steakhouse, and he signed on the dotted line. So I just wanted you to know I came all the way here to make sure I was able to connect with you guys at this landmark place called the Precinct in Cincinnati. You got to have the steak, guys. I'm telling you right now.
I'm going to woo him and woo you into veganism. Give it time.
Oh.
Give it time.
I've never been to
fry you up some mushrooms.
Woo.
The sautéed mushrooms at the precinct are exceptional.
Okay.
Two thumbs up.
It all sounds very expensive, Mr. Wilcots. I would recommend the Cajun chalupa. That is more in our. I've had that.
Yeah,
but,
the dollar menu at Taco Bell is a friend to Dadio.
Yeah.
I will say this. This is the place to come if you want to run into a Bengals player.
Actually,
Wanna
that's
come
what
to-
Dadio
Can we reveal what you're doing there right now, sir?
Yeah, I'm hanging out with Cameron Taylor-Britt. You know, I'm sure I'm just doing my thing as a Bengal alumni. I'm taking the young guys under my wing. He's a Nebraska Cornhusker. I'm a Colorado Buffalo, but I'm taking one for the team here. So I'm showing him around.
This is my neighborhood restaurant, and I come there all the time. I go sit at the bar, and I never see a Bengal. I go sit with the football from.
They're all wearing disguises. That's why.
If they're wearing shades like this, it's probably a Bengal.
Mr. Wilcots, considering that you came here in spite of being able to have an appetizer, we're really grateful. I mean, you lit up our show. You taught us what it means to be a real football commentator. You are welcome to come back anytime, and in fact, we ask that you do.
Actually, do you have anything to promote, Mr. Wilcots?
Oh, Joe, yeah. Hey, listen, Dadio, Joe, Bridget, you guys got to watch and to pay attention to the Believe in Bengal podcast. Obviously, you can go to the Believe Network, the Believe Podcast Network at Believe.com to take a look at myself, Adam Pac-Man Jones. Most recently, we did the entire show on Joe Burrow and literally talked about how, they say rising tides lift all boats. That's what he's done to the Bengals. Very short order. Peter King talks about it in his Football Morning in America segment, where he listed the most influential people in the National Football League. So you can go to the Believe Podcast Network and take a look at it. You can also go to my Twitter handle. It's at Solomon's Wisdom.
There we go.
To get more information.
So let me
as I get older, it's more like the rising pants raise the socks, because my pants keep getting higher and my socks I keep having to pull them up.
Mr. Wilcots, I just want to get it clear. It's Believe in because we are Believe in the #1 Bengals podcast. So you are Believe in these what Bengals podcast?
Just Believe in Bengals.
Just
Believe in Bengals. They're the Believe in Bengals.
We don't have a number yet. Okay.
We don't have. No, we are Believe in Bengals.
I don't know if you said that.
And ironically, you guys are the #1 podcast.
The #1 in front of yours, but
that was a nice trick. We knew you were coming. We wanted to use your name recognition. Yeah.
We share the love. It's okay. It's all good. It's about team. Teamwork makes the dream work.
It's just a number on the jersey.
Yeah.
Just a number on the jersey.
Well, Mr. Wilcots, we hope that you will come back soon. We had a lot of fun, and we benefited from your charm and your style, and I hope that my coworkers or my the people, I hope that my minions learned a lot from you, and we get that money back and dress better.
Hey, get the money back.
Exactly.
Don't forget it. Hey, listen, we're not here for a long time. We're here to have a good time.
Yep.
So make sure you get what you came for. We all are gonna need it. It's okay. I just want you to know, in today's America, it's okay.
I love it. Okay.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Namaste.
Wow. What a personality.
I liked him so much better than you, Dadio.
Yeah, well, that's because of the saying. I mean, he lit the show on fire. Imagine if we had him.
You know what's funny? The last time we had such a lively, engaging guest, it was Pac-Man Jones. I feel like those two should be on our podcast.
It almost feels like they have a #1 kind of podcast on the Believe Network.
I think they have potential to be a #1.
Remember like in the 90s when they used to do like crossover shows of like
Jetsons and Flintstones.
No, like Urkel would be on Full House.
Yeah, that kind of thing. We need to do like a
No one wants to have us on their podcast, Bridget.
They need to come be on ours.
Yeah, well, we've been doing that.
We'll serve them crackers and cupcakes, and they'll come.
Yeah.
Well, I was on a astrology podcast, but I didn't feel like it was right to promote it on the show. But I'm a regular on doing horoscopes. But on this show, I'm going to do horoscopes.
Well, you do horoscopes, and let's do your horoscope.
Let's just do a horoscope because, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling the power of positivity after our own Solomon Wilcots was here. I mean, you could feel the energy levels. in the room go up like a rising tide or a rising pair of old man's pants. And, what always comes to my mind this time of year is the nonsense you see on Twitter and on Reddit about newer players, and I'm talking specifically about Jamar Chase. And the talk on Reddit and other places about the fantasy player is, will poor Jamar Chase face what's called the second-year slump? And I'm here to tell you, as my horoscope, no. What you're going to see instead is the second-year bump. Now, I don't think like a fantasy guy. Those fantasy guys, the way they think about these numbers and statistics. And sure, if you've had a great player the first year and you watch him play, he's going to be maybe easier to cover and things like that. But when I think about Jamar Chase, I think about Dr. Martin Seligman's book, Learned Optimism, How to Change Your Mind and Your Life. Okay. And Bridget, I don't know if you've ever tried to change your mind or your life through optimism. But the way you do it is you do it through what's called an explanatory style. What's the story you tell when you fail? Okay? When things don't go your way, is it, Bridget, for example, let's say you were about to come on this show and your mic didn't work. Is it, oh my gosh, things don't work for me? Okay, that would be a bad explanatory style. Mm-hmm. Things never work for me. That's a bad explanatory style. Sure. Or would it be something like, okay, my mic isn't working, but hey, you know what is working? My headphones. So that means that my mic will work eventually. I just have to find the right button.
Yeah, it's like what tape are you putting in the internal cassette deck of your mind? Got it.
That's it. And when I think about Jamar Chase, I think about the quote that I think he said recently, maybe today, maybe yesterday. He said, last year I was just out there running routes, having fun again. Now I've got all the small details down. He says he's more comfortable with the offense. He says he can move around a little more. He feels like he's more profesh. And I feel like that positivity, that smile we see on his face is going to make him a lot like other great QBs who've done better in their second year than they did in their first. I'm talking about your Randy Moss. Best rookie wide receiving season ever. And then he improved in his second year. He went from 1,313 yards to 1,413 yards. I'm talking about, you got your Justin Jefferson. He was a teammate of Burrow and Chase at LSU. He went from 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns in his rookie year to 1,616 yards and 10 touchdowns in his second year. A.J. Green, same thing. He improved. He went from 1,057 to 1,350, from 7 touchdowns to 11. Positive psychology, Bridget. Positive psychology. Thinking positively. Having a positive outlook. Having a good story. The way James Burrow has created a positive message for everybody on this team will affect the other players. And it creates a positive vibe. Just like you have created a positive vibe, Bridget, on this show. I can say this. Dadio was not in the frame. We used to be very negative until you came. We thought this was a sinking ship, but it's not. And that is my horoscope.
Wow. Well, it's fine. I mean, yeah, if you can figure out free ways to get more positive without using the insurance, that's great. I encourage that.
Yeah.
Speaking of free, I want to go to Dadio Cares. My community service gets me out of paying a lot of fines. Please, Bridget.
Well, it shouldn't. And by the end of this, we're going to...
wrong headline there. It should be something else. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, well...
what is this headline about exactly? I mean,
there's
something from last week. This was from last week when we were talking with...
Because you said fines, and then you said former Bengals seek justice, so I want to know what you've been doing in the locker room, Dadio.
Yeah, no, it's nothing about that. Okay.
So,
go ahead. Yeah.
For this week's Dadio Care segment, I wanted to talk a little bit about my favorite season. So, summer is here, and it is my favorite time of year. I don't know, Dadio and Hodgie, if you know that, but everything is green. The flowers are blooming. Solomon is actually currently in my neighborhood in Columbia, Tusculum, while he's at the precinct. And like over here, everything is just green and beautiful and colorful. But I just love the summer flowers. And so those flowers actually attract the honoree of this week's Dadio Cares segment. June is National Pollinators Month. I don't know if anyone knows or celebrates that, but it's National Pollinators Month, and pollinators are those little winged or crawly beings like bees or hummingbirds or beetles or butterflies that transport pollen from within a flower or between flowers, and they turn it into fruits or seeds. So, fun fact, according to NEEF, which I think is just a great acronym, which is the National Environmental Education Foundation, more than 1,000 of the plants we depend on globally need to be pollinated by animals. So things like coffee, melons, chocolate, and even tequila. So our margaritas that may have melon and tequila all need pollinators. And pollinators are facing a lot of threats in the environment right now. Anything from climate change to common challenges from habit degradation, pollution, pesticides, non-native species or diseases. So at the number one Bengals podcast in DNH Sports, in the Believe Network, we believe. So
yeah.
Well, I have see what I did there. I'm not done.
Not done.
We believe we can do little things each day to help our environment. So 3 quick things. And Dadio, you're going to need to plant some flowers outside our office.
Right.
So if you have space, plant a variety of plants that bloom, and think about things that plant early spring all the way to late fall, and things that are native to your region. Reduce or eliminate the use of pesticides, and then provide nectar for hummingbirds. Or even if you live somewhere where there's an old or dead tree, a lot of us, think to cut that down or get a stump out. But you can actually create a bee condo as long as the dead tree is safe and doesn't present a safety hazard.
Yeah, I'm just very confused here. What you're asking people to do. So
remember that when you tried to plant a money tree when we were kids?
Yeah, I did plant
a
money
work.
tree. Yeah, well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you are saying you want people to go out there and pollinate these flowers, these little flowers, and you want grown men and women.
Humans cannot pollinate.
Hold on, let me just get it clear. Anatomically,
well, I can stop you right there. I didn't know.
How? No, but the other thing is this. In terms of privacy, what do they do? Is there a curtain? Is there a booth? You can't go in the wild.
It's called
Bridget.
free
I know
love,
you are
baby.
very free-thinking, free spirit. I don't like what you're encouraging.
The hummingbirds just do their little thing, and we appreciate it. You do not need to go pollinate anything.
That's what you told me for half an hour just now. You said go pollinate.
No, I said we support the pollinators, the bees, the hummingbirds, the beetles, the butterflies.
We're all smaller animals than humans.
Until you grow wings, you do not need to pollinate anything.
I mean, he's pretty small, but not that small.
Yeah.
Not that small. And no wings. But can I just share one fun Bengals-related thing I found?
Yes.
Okay, so I was doing my research, and I started doing this mainly for Hodgie, because most of what he eats is created by pollinators.
Yeah,
I also found myself thinking about the similarities between our Bengals and pollinators. So first, the Bengals are represented by a literal bee with stripes, and so I could have just stopped there. But then I discovered that the pollinator of the week in November of 2017 was a real underdog, gritty and underestimated, just like our own Bengals, who continue to be underestimated even after a Super Bowl run. So this fair pollinator also wears the Bengal stripes, and it is none other than the tiger swallowtail butterfly. And we may even consider her the Kenny Anderson of butterflies, because she can be found where the weather is cold. So my final statement is save the pollinators, support the Bengals, hooday. And
Love,
that's Dadio Cares
peace,
this week.
and pollination.
I just want to say that is supporting these pollinating people is Bridget's personal opinion.
Bridget has pollinated our hearts with that beautiful message of peace and love.
From my brain to your heart.
Well, speaking of pollinating your pockets, if you will.
No such thing.
And going back to Solomon's point about the money bags.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/DHSports. You can go there. You can be a patron. Look, a lot of you are saying, hey, where's the fact checker? We want the fact checker. Well, we can't afford the fact checker. The fact checker is very expensive. I told you. No one believed me. I told you. Angela, is currently working for President Joe Biden as a fact checker. You want to pull her away from that? We need at least 5 more patrons. But nobody's patronizing us. Nobody. We have 12 patrons. They're great. We love them. So they're not nobodies. I shouldn't say that. But we need more. We need about 10 more so that we can get Angela on permanently. And believe me, just like we saw with John, and we had another addition to the show, just as you saw with every edition the show is elevated, it will be elevated once again. Okay. The other thing is winnow.app/DH Sports. You can go there and get a direct line to me and Hodgie. And look, John was not here. A lot of you probably have questions for John. You want to get his takes for the week. Well, you can send us a text message there.
Text him.
App. Yeah. And you can just say, hey, John.
John, you up?
Yeah. And
want to Netflix and chill, John?
Exactly.
Let's maybe not ask.
He is legally binded to respond to those, actually. So
he has to say yes.
If you send a picture, he has to send a picture back.
John, say no.
Yeah.
Not awake. Sorry.
So that is all I have for this show. And I want to thank the great Solomon Wilcots. He was fantastic. He was magnificent, as they say. And, of course, HR and Dr. Hodgie Moji. And obviously, you should subscribe and you like and comment. Please, turn on notifications and subscribe on the iPhones, all of those things. And, make sure to share with your friends. Tell them about us. And that is it. We'll see you next time. So long. Sweetie. Pies.